What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been a really long time since I've done a sit down video, but this has been something that I wanted to talk about for like a really long time, and it's been on the forefront of my mind, and I was like, you know what? We just need to sit down and just let all our thoughts and feelings out. So that's what today's video is going to be. It's just kind of a little bit of a ramble, but also at the end of the day, I want this to be a reminder to anyone who has ever had a kid or is going to have a kid, or maybe kids in the future. Like, I just would love for this just to be a reminder to you. So obviously, as you can tell by this title, we are talking about getting back into the gym postpartum, and I am not going to sit here and say I am an expert. For sure I am not, and I'm not perfect by all means, but as someone who had a kid and really struggled a lot with getting back into the gym and comparing myself to the people I saw online, it was really hard when I saw some of these things. And I can see for a lot of women, when they see things online of women just jumping back in the gym like that, and you're like, wow, I can barely lift any weights, and these people are jumping back into the gym 1 week postpartum, 2 weeks postpartum. It's a little bit insane. So that's what we're going to talk about, and I'm gonna do my best to kind of stay on track. I might go on some tangents, so I do apologize, but just hear me out. And like I said, I'm not an expert, I'm not perfect, and you know what? This is just my thoughts and opinions about it. So I hope that you stay tuned, and I hope that you can kind of use some of the things that I say as just a reminder. So when I was pregnant, I saw a lot of people online, fitness influencers, CrossFit athletes, which I'm gonna be referring to CrossFit athletes because I'm also in the CrossFit space. And this is a huge thing because they kind of blend together anyways. So I will be referring to that too. So when I was pregnant, I saw people who were pregnant online who I followed and I like to follow. And I was like, wow, we're gonna have babies around the same time. And when I started to see people just jumping back into the gym right away, I was like, wait, hold on a second. Like, I'm following a program. I'm making sure that I'm not going to ruin my body. And I can't believe these people are already back in the gym. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen that and thought that and go, oh my God, how do they do that? I must be falling behind. I must not be doing something right if they're already back in the gym. Now, when you're pregnant, this is a huge thing that really aggravates me, is that a lot of fitness influencers like to make the video, it's very trendy right now, where it's like, I worked out during my whole pregnancy so that I can have an easier birth or an easier postpartum recovery, which yes, exercise does help that, but it does not guarantee that. And that is something that's so important. It's like, for me personally, I worked out throughout my whole pregnancy. I lifted weights, I did everything, and I was good. However, my birth was actually super traumatic and it went really wrong. Like, I had a pretty hard birth, to say the least. And so to say that you worked out during your pregnancy, meaning you're gonna have an easier birth, does not necessarily mean that's side by side. So just because someone has an easier birth and they worked out, that can happen, but that can also not happen. So please, first of all, if you're pregnant, don't listen to that. Not saying that you're not gonna have an easy birth. Like, I feel like I need to make 100 disclaimers. Like, you can have an easy birth. It's just so different for each and every one of us. And that's the same thing when it comes to our postpartum recovery. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, I know everything about the people who are in postpartum and what they're doing and what their doctors say. I'm not their doctors. I don't know anything about them. I just follow them online. And this is sometimes where we forget the disconnect of people online and how easy it is to hide things and lie. It's very easy to lie online, very easy to hide things online. For most of the part, very easy to do. So I see a lot of people who have posted like, oh my God, how is she already working out 1 week postpartum, which I've seen, or 2 weeks postpartum. And I think that is, first of all, a little crazy and a little disordered sometimes. Does it feel good to get your body moving? Yes. And when I finally had my baby, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get back in the gym. However, it's so important that you take your time to get back into the gym. You literally create a human, birth the human, and sometimes the recovery isn't always as quick and isn't always as quick as some people may show online. And so very often when I see these clips of fitness influencers jumping in back into the gym and being like, oh yeah, I did my first workout postpartum, 1 week postpartum or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? Definitely most doctors will not like sign off for 1 week postpartum to be back in the gym. Will doctors say that you can do some like activity to get some movement back? Yes, but they're not going to be recommending lifting weight. And there was a CrossFit athlete who worked out during her pregnancy and then was squatting, I think like 350 pounds, like 1 or 2 weeks postpartum, which is hard to say the least. And what I first want to say is that it can be like, people can hide things online. So yes, you technically could lift a barbell, you could do things postpartum, you could. However, it doesn't mean that your body's going to be healthy after. So that you can easily prolapse, you can easily have issues with your pelvic floor, you can easily have issues with your core, and people can hide those things. So if fitness influencers jump back in the gym and say like, oh, look at me, I'm back in the gym and all these things, they could be hiding behind the scenes all these issues where they can be bleeding for a long period of time because of birth and the placenta coming out and everything like that. So they can prolong their bleeding, they can have a prolapse, they can have issues with their core, they can have issues with their pelvic floor, which we will never know. So that is why it's so important to not compare yourself to what you see online. Will they have issues? Am I saying that they're gonna have issues? No. Can they probably have issues from doing that? Yes. So for me, for example, I really wanted to get back into the gym and I was like, I want to get moving. And I knew around 4 weeks, I was like chomping at the bit. I was like, okay, no, like I want to do this. And I had a C-section, and pretty much a week after my C-section, I started walking. I needed to walk. I needed to get out of the house for my mental health. And looking back now, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It was light activity. It felt good. It made me feel good, but I wasn't lifting weights. I wasn't doing anything crazy in the gym. The only thing that I was working on was embracing my core, learning how to breathe, making sure I'm engaging things properly, and going for long walks. That's all I could do, and that's all that felt good enough to do. On top of that, usually when you have a baby, you're tired, you're exhausted, things are happening. It's very easy to hide that online and make it look like I'm back in the gym and I'm feeling all good and all these things. It's like, you have no idea if they had 2 hours of sleep last night. You have no idea if they are just leaking from their boobs or things like, you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And the same thing goes that it is so easy to lie about things online. And when we see a reel or an Instagram story, we are only seeing a small portion. And I say this very often to people who say like, oh my God, how is she doing this full workout? Because I've seen fitness influencers or athletes saying like, oh yeah, I did this, this, and this. And it's like, okay, that was your workout 1 week postpartum. That's fine. But it's very easy to manipulate a video and show a couple reps and say 3 sets of this, and then I did 3 sets of this and this, and I did 10 reps, 15 reps, 20 reps, whatever. It can look like they're doing a lot of volume, but it's very easy to do a video of just a couple reps. So I can say I'm 1 week postpartum back in the gym because I'm a fitness influencer and it was an easy birth and all these things, which maybe it was, but at the same time, it's very easy to show a video of a couple reps and then skip to the next exercise and just do a couple reps. It's super easy to do that, especially if you gave birth vaginally and you didn't have a C-section. It's not hard. Even with a C-section, it's not hard to manipulate a video. So if you're in postpartum and you're seeing these fitness influencers online, whatever, or if you're going to be, or if you're still seeing things and you're in disbelief and you're like, what the hell? How are they jumping back in the gym? It's not hard for me to just sit here and go, oh yeah, look, this is my workout of 10 bicep curls. And I only show you 3 reps because when we look at short form content, unless they're doing like a live stream or a whole YouTube video showing their entire workout, short form content, we only see quick little clips. That's what we want to see. That's how things are viewed to us right now. We only want to see things quick, fast, and short. And that's what we see. We see a couple reps, next thing, couple reps. It's the same thing whether they're postpartum or not. It's very easy to say, do my workout, and then they do a couple reps of this, and then they change outfits and say, do my next workout, and then they're not getting a full workout in, they're just doing a couple reps to show for the video, and that's it. And I usually do that with my videos. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Well, I don't I do the workouts, but most of the time I will do the whole workout and then I'll do an extra round at the end, but just showing a couple reps. That being said, it's super easy to manipulate things online. It's not hard to hide things. It's not hard to lie about things. Is there people with issues with the gym where they feel like they need to get back or bounce back? Because that bounce back culture is still very prevalent when it comes to women and having babies. Like, it still is there. Of course, as someone who loves to lift weights and I love feeling strong, that was like one of my main focuses when I finally gave birth, because yes, it is super frustrating that when you're pregnant, you can't lift the same weights. You can't do the same workouts. Can you work out? Can you do those things? Yes, but you also can't do the same as what you were doing before. And especially that third trimester, you're exhausted by the end of it. You're so tired. And I understand that once you give birth, you just want to get back to a little bit more normalcy in your life, which is totally normal and totally okay. So I know that feeling of like, yes, I just want to get back to some normalcy, but at the same time, it's so important to make sure your body's fully recovered. Have I seen people just jump back in the gym and be okay after pregnancy? Yeah, it really just depends how your pregnancy goes and how your birth goes. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that your core is feeling good, that you're not coning or stressing it any more than it has been stressed throughout pregnancy. You want to make sure that you're rehabbing things. It's just like an injury. You need to work through these things and make sure your body is healthy. Because if you're not making sure your body is healthy, then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And you're going to have issues way down the road. And especially if it's your first pregnancy, you want to make sure you're going to be able to get things proper, or not proper, but you want to make sure things are okay in case you decide, or if you decide to have another pregnancy. So that's making sure your core is okay and it's strong and it's ready to lift weights properly for the next thing. And also making sure your pelvic floor is okay so you're not going to pee yourself every 2 seconds. Women have those issues whether they work out or not. But when it comes to working out, we're really putting our body through a lot of strain, especially if we're lifting weights. We don't really necessarily want to be peeing. And I do want to say here, if you are pregnant or you're newly postpartum and you feel like, okay, like I don't have a plan, I don't know what I'm doing, there are a lot of coaches out there. I'll link the profile of my coach who helped me in my postpartum program. She was so great. Even then, she gives really great tips on her Instagram. But just making sure you're healthy, you're okay, and just don't necessarily follow the advice of fitness influencers who don't know anything or aren't educated when it comes to postpartum recovery, because there's a lot of people out there. Like, I'm not gonna sit on here and say I'm an expert, which I said several times now, but I'm definitely not an expert, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what to do for your postpartum recovery. I just want this to be a super big reminder that, you know what, we see things online, but we shouldn't compare ourselves, and we don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and a lot can be happening. So there's sometimes we see the little picture online, but there's a huge picture going on in the back. Okay, just popping on here really quick as I was editing this, and I just wanted to kind of state that there's a lot of athletes out there, a lot of good CrossFit athletes, and just some fitness influencers who did take their time and really rehab their bodies and make sure that they were doing it properly so that they weren't going to have issues, because especially if you're an athlete, you don't want to overdo it because your body is like your job. And so like Cara Saunders was really good at making sure she took her time back in the gym, especially after having 2 kids. Tia Claire Toomey, some things were a bit shocking for her, but at the same time, some of the skills that she has is a lot harder for most of us, but she is a very high level athlete. They still took the time when it came to lifting. They made sure that everything was good before they started doing things, and the same thing goes for a lot of fitness influencers. I'm really just talking about the ones that like jump back into the gym, make things seem like a little surprising that they're back into the gym like 1 week postpartum, and they're not really taking any time to give their body rest after what they did. Yeah, just wanted to kind of reiterate that I know there are good ones out there, but there's a lot of like jumping back and like just trying to do this like kind of flashy, like quick stuff and make it look like that they're like, their bodies are amazing and it's because they worked out during their pregnancy, and that's why they're back in the gym so fast, when that's not necessarily the reality, and most doctors won't sign off on things like that. I hope that all makes sense. I feel like it's not, but I hope it does. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. You guys know where it is, obviously. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Also, let me know what you guys think. Please be nice though.
Summer days burn me out, love just brings me down. Cold inside like winter leaves that slowly leave the ground. Hey, you come back, I wanna give you a chance. Love me like you used to, so we can learn again. The skin is getting round, baby, drink your night.